New communities climb on board for a planned new transmission line. New developments in a controversial Shunya Township lawsuit. And the Prime Minister responds to those Brazilian spy allegations. Good evening and thank you for being with us. 5 northern communities have signed on to help bring a new transmission line to the far north.
Chiefs of each of the 5 First Nations entered into an agreement today to become part owners of Watay Power. That's a company owned collectively by several First Nations, working to develop the new power line to service several remote communities that currently rely on diesel fuel to meet their energy needs. Ryan Bonazzo explains why it's important and when the line could be in place.
Chiefs from 5 northern reserves put pen to paper, officially joining 13 other First Nations as equal partner owners of Watay Power. The KO communities of Deer Lake, Kiwewin, McDowell Lake, North Spirit Lake, and Poplar Hill have been brought on board to help bring a new transmission line to the north, where many still rely on costly and unreliable diesel to power their homes and businesses.
You have to minimize how much energy you use.
Margaret Kanekwanash is chair of Watay Power. She says construction on phase 1 of the billion-dollar project, an upgraded transmission line to Pickle Lake, could start as soon as next June. As for when the now 18 member communities could be connected to the power grid,
It's 2017, possibly 18. So in terms of Kiwetnokok-Makanak, we're working concurrently to work with them at the same time within those schedules.
KO Executive Director Peter Campbell says in the end, the move away from diesel fuel will save the communities not only money, but a lot of aggravation as well.
Spills, cleanups, environmental stuff. Those are the big challenges, yeah. And also just the amount of dollars that we need. I think one chief had said he had to borrow money, like virtually mortgage his community for the next couple of years to be able to get the diesel up north.
Watay has partnered with Goldcorp in order to get the project off the ground. Kanekwanash hopes to secure a transmission partner, a company to construct the line, within 6 months. Ryan Bonazzo, TBT News.
The province's new Auditor General says a number of what she calls questionable decisions by the office of former Premier Dalton McGuinty significantly drove up the cost of scrapping an Oakville gas plant. Bonnie Lissick delivered her hotly anticipated report on the cancelled plant today. She pegs the cost to Ontarians at $675 million, but she also warns that number could go up.
The net cost of $675 million could also increase up to an additional $140 million because of future increases in the cost of delivering natural gas to the relocated plant in Napanee.
Opposition parties have accused the governing Liberals of cancelling the Mississauga and Oakville plans to save legislative seats during the last election. We'll have a full report for you tonight on the Late Edition.
The City of Thunder Bay must invest millions of dollars if it wants to keep 3 outdoor pools up and running. That information was included in a report on the pools presented to Council last night. According to that report, Dease Pool is of particular concern. The 100-year-old facility needs more than $1 million worth of repairs. But it was Heath Park Pool that drew most of the attention last night. Dennis Ward has more.
Outdoor pools. The Committee for the Future of Heath Park Pool have saved the facility from the chopping block in the past. The current plans call for repairs to keep the swimming pool operational, but the group felt it was important to let Council know what the facility means to the Westford neighborhood. Bob Hupka says Heath is the only summer retreat many kids get. They learn to swim there, and it's a safe social environment.
Many kids who spend the day, every day, at Heath Park. They're monitored by lifeguards. They get a little coaching on how to deal with some of their problems. And they're among friends there. Kids come to Heath Park from all walks of life. And you know, as I do, that recreation is the best equalizer.
The committee would love to see a new pool at Heath Park, but realizing that may be unlikely, they have asked the city to continue to make investments to ensure a long-term future for the swimming facility. Some municipalities have begun moving away from outdoor pools with their limited time of use and limited dollars to spend on recreational facilities.
I'd like to put one of these pools in every neighborhood because there is value to it. and the children especially like this experience. But it's a difficult thing to fund in the current economic climate.
City Manager Tim Camiso says the pools are an area the city hasn't been investing in to maintain in recent years. He says in order to continue to provide the same service, money needs to be spent over the next 2 years. But Rebecca Johnson thinks there are bigger questions to ask.
We really have to sit down and say, are we going to have pools? Because we can keep band-aiding them for the next couple of years and, so that they can do it. But where are we going? Do we want these pools in 5 to 10 years? And I don't have the answer to that right now. I'm looking for other options in the recommendations, that we can close them and that we can look at other programming, that we can look at, we would keep one pool open or no pools open.
Council will be asked to make some decisions on the future of the outdoor pools next month. Dennis Ward, TBT News.
There are new developments tonight on a pair of million-dollar lawsuits against the municipality of Shunya over a popular beach. O'Connor Point has been a summer hotspot for many in this area, but it's also been the cause of major headaches for nearby homeowners. Two families filed $1 million lawsuits in May and asked for the court to prevent public use of the property. That case was before the Superior Court of Justice in late August, and a judge has ruled in favor of the plaintiffs. Shunya did hire a security firm to try to enforce access rules at O'Connor Point, but in his ruling, a judge says despite the efforts of the municipality, serious incidents continue to occur. Excessive noise and disruptive activity at all hours of the day, uninvited people on their property, and interference with them, their children, pets, and personal property are long-standing and continuing problems. The judge will grant the injunction prohibiting Shunya from using or allowing the public use of O'Connor Point pending a trial. The municipality has until tomorrow to appeal that decision. No date has been set for a trial on the matter.
Thunder Bay Police are hoping to work with the community to better report hate crimes. A representative from Stats Canada was in the city today to discuss training methods that will help police work with residents and organizations to clarify what hate crimes are, how they apply to certain offenses, and how to report them. Cheryl Holmes reports.
Thunder Bay has had 0 hate crimes reported to Stats Canada, but that doesn't mean our city is free from hate. Representatives from Thunder Bay Police say the community has spoken about their concerns regarding this issue.
We felt that there was some stuff, not only the police, but also the community needed some clarification on certain terms. And what I mean by that is what actually constitutes hate crimes, definitions, and again, how we stat them, or how Stats Canada determines criteria for hate crime.
By definition, a hate crime is a criminal offense motivated in part or in whole by a person's bias against a specific social or cultural group. That could include anything from a minor offense to something more serious.
It's those small things, small vandalisms and egging or anything like that. Police do want to know about this, and they want to be counting these type of things.
The workshop was spurred by City Police to improve their tracking and reporting of hate crimes, as well as to determine how a hate crime applies to other offenses. They're hoping to have victims come forward to report and identify the crimes and get more complete statistics.
I mean, it's a start, right? You got to start somewhere. If we start educating the younger people now, or even people that are in organizations, that the word is only going to get out there. Events like this will only help us spread the message out that hate crimes are not tolerated in the city.
It's still at the genesis where people are starting to come forward and report it, and police are trying to change attitudes about that.
The training sessions educate officers to focus on 3 aspects of any crime: the incident, the perpetrator, and the victim. City Police are aware of the perception that they've mishandled some racial issues in the past. They're hoping workshops like this will help create a better, more open dialogue between the service and the victims. Cheryl Holmes, TBT News.
A 27-year-old Thunder Bay man is facing a number of charges in Edmonton, including animal cruelty, after the stabbing death of a police dog yesterday. Police say it happened when Paul Vukmanich crashed a stolen car and tried to flee from police. That incident has led to calls for changes in the criminal code to increase the punishment for attacking service animals.
The local home construction statistics are in for the month of September, and Thunder Bay continues to see big development numbers. Officials with Canada Mortgage and Housing say a total of 76 new residential units started last month, moving the total for the year to 278. The second condominium at Prince Arthur's Landing is responsible for 55 of those units. That brings the total number of multi-unit starts to 125 for the year to date, a 400% increase over this time last year. As for single-family homes, there were 121 starts last month, down slightly from the 28 starts in September of 2012. That brings the total new houses for the year to date to 153. The CMHC's Warren Philp expects construction to slow down this month as we head into cooler weather, but he thinks Thunder Bay is still on pace for more than 200 single-detached home starts this year.
The Ontario Health Coalition says the province is going to allow more private specialty clinics. The group says new regulations being brought in by the Liberal government will come at the expense of community hospitals. Health Minister Deb Matthews says moving some of the procedures out of hospitals will make things more convenient and may reduce health care costs. But NDP critics argue that move will mean less access to health care for patients, especially those in rural and low-income areas.
It's a private member's bill that, if passed, could bring back Ontario's spring bear hunt. Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Bill Morrow introduced the controversial legislation today, telling his fellow MPPs that residents and municipalities across the north have been raising concerns when it comes to bear activity and the dangers it presents. He says issues such as livestock and crop problems, declining moose populations, and beehive damage are just a few of the concerns. And if passed, one major issue would be addressed.
Speaker, this is first and foremost for me a public safety issue. We do know with quite good approximation that 1,400 fewer bears per year are being harvested today in Ontario since the hunt was cancelled in 1999. This bill has great support across the north, including municipal councils, individuals and organizations, and Speaker, I look forward to trying to move this bill through the House. Thank you.
Morrow says if the bear hunt is brought back, he hopes a balance will be struck that provides measures to protect female bears and their cubs.
A group of kids are joining two children's aid organizations in an effort to step up and help prevent child abuse. October is Child Abuse Prevention Month, so Dalico Anishinaabeg Family Care and the Children's Aid Society have launched their month-long campaign to raise awareness about the issue. A group of children from Dalico painted their feet purple and left their footprints on a massive banner to do their part for child abuse prevention this month. The campaign aims to bring awareness to families, schools, parents, and communities while involving kids in a fun and innovative way. That banner will be brought to schools across the region to be filled with hundreds of footprints supporting the cause. Dalico Executive Director Darcia Borg says the primary goal of their organization is to ensure the safety and health of children in their communities, so that's why this initiative is so important to her.
I think it's really important for children to know that they're not alone, to know that there are organizations, there are people, there are teachers that they can reach out to, and if they're hurting, to talk to them about it.
And anything that we can do to either raise awareness so that cases are reported sooner to us or prevent it, obviously we are very much in support of.
Dalico and the Thunder Bay CAS helped to close to 3,000 families in the district. They say child abuse is one of the most traumatic experiences their children have to deal with. The month-long campaign also features a Go Purple Day, October 16th, where residents are urged to wear purple and send their photos to Dalico.
All week long, students across the city are receiving a lesson in fire safety. Fire Prevention Week runs from October 6th to the 12th, and as Courtney Rutherford reports, not only are they learning about safety issues, they're also finding that the leading cause of house fires start right in the kitchen.
According to Thunder Bay Fire and Rescue, over 20% of all residential fires in the city are caused by people who leave the kitchen unattended. Those who do are typically caught up doing other things around the house. Chief John Hay says whenever they are called to a fire that started on the stove, residents always tell them they were only gone for a few minutes.
One of the best places we found to get our message out is through the youth. School kids, high school kids, they bring that message home to their parents. Their parents are maybe a little old school on cooking on the stove. They give that message home. It's hard to tell your kid, no, you're wrong, when they've heard it from the fire chief and the fire marshal, that they got to take better care around the cooking.
Local firefighters, along with Mayor Keith Hobbs, joined St. Patrick's High School kids to learn about a number of safety tips when cooking in your home. The demonstration covered everything from proper cooking temperatures to things you can wear to protect yourself.
I believe it is a really important message to get out there, just to prevent like small things like the little fires and stuff. Like with this information that we got today, it's a good way to just go home and tell people and spread the word. So I think it was a great message.
Thunder Bay Fire and Rescue will be traveling to schools around the city to promote fire safety awareness until Friday. Courtney Rutherford, TBT News.